Okay, so the recording's going. So was there anything, were there specific things that you wanted to get out of this lesson, or you wanted me to look at, or anything
Okay,
along those
actually,
lines?
we look at a bit at this game. It was like a league game. We had to play versus another team. I think their draft is stronger than ours, but for me, we won the early game quite. We won safe lane and mid lane quite hard, and then we failed to play the game. We didn't do what we needed to do. I think they won. We last picked the PL. They won on it, I think, because they took DP. You will see the draft from. I don't know. For me, I was like really good in the game. Everything was going fine, and at one moment we fucked up and cost us the game.
Okay. So do you want me to look at the drafting? This is your team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll go over the drafting, and then I'll go over your gameplay, and then I'll try and look at the general overall thing. So I might have to go a little bit quicker on everything so we can fit that in. Or actually, how much? Are we trying to do this in like an hour?
We can, but we can expand it to 1 hour and a half or as we need.
Okay. I think you have an hour and a half left, so that works out fine. So I'm trying to look at what the drafts are like, and then I think let me first just go through the bands and everything, so I can get like a better sense of how the draft went. It'd be nice if this wasn't glitched, so I could actually see what your second ban is, but I'm sure it's not too big of a deal. This is gonna be fun. Alright, I'm just gonna reopen it, and hope that fixes it.
Yeah, it's like fast forward is totally broken.
Dota buff. I'm also gonna look it up on Dota buff. Maybe that'll be better.
I can give you the link if you want to. I was searching for it.
Okay.
Uh,
Actually, I have it. I got it. We're good. So it was. Okay, I see their bands and everything. You got casted, dude. You're fucking famous.
Actually, it's on the French league, so it was a good match. We are like, they have a league, top tier team. We are on the second tier. We are on the second division. So
Nice.
It's pretty okay. It's like divine.
Nice. So I don't so much. Were you part of the drafting? Did you do the draft,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. I was part of the draft.
Okay, so were you the drafter, or were you?
Yeah, I was a drafter.
Okay, so what was your thought process on your bans and your first phase of picks?
Okay, actually, I will go on. So for the first free ban, I always ban meta. Like, we didn't have a first pick, so for me Shaman was not a good was a first ban because I know Shaman is really strong in 5 position for now. I know that the Brewmaster, they had one player of Brewmaster and it's really hard to play against a Brewmaster. Lot
Sure.
of team fight, lot of control.
Yep.
And the Tinker was a pub stomper for like this week and he wanted to play against a Tinker because pretty much he dominates the lane and he can farm really fast and just like split the complete map. And it's when you have a good Tinker player, it was like a real disaster. Our Jackie, I think like Jakiro and Kunka we actually trained this duo of support. It was really good for us, so I just picked them because it helped in lot of. They are strong in early, strong in mid game, strong in late game. They have lot of control, and what I like with this duo of support is when you have them, the enemy have to do BKB whatever you have. Like because Kunka is too much a pain in the ass to not do BKB. The second ban, like the Dragon Knight and the Juggernaut.
Well, I want to just cut it into this section.
Yeah.
Talk about this first, and then we can go.
First?
Yeah, like the first 3 bands and the first 2
Okay.
picks. Because if we talk about the whole draft with all of the bands and everything, then it gets kind of like messy, and it's it's like if we talk about just this section and then we go from there, we can predict what they might pick and what might be good for you to pick and all that. Whereas if we just go to the end, it's very easy to be like, to like skip those things and skip why it would have been this or that.
Okay, no problem.
So the thing with the Kunkka is he's very weak early game. Before level 6, he's just kind of like he's more of an experienced drain than anything until he starts getting going. Jakiro, on the other hand, is very strong, so they can complement each other in that, but if they pick a strong duo and they go aggressive on you, they can run you over. Let me think about it all overall for a second here, so I can formulate some. So at this point, there isn't too many. There isn't too much like out of the ordinary or too much to say. The only thing is, if I were to pick Kunkka, I would rather pick him when he's specifically for something, as opposed to just picking him.
Okay.
Because Disruptor kind of does the same thing. Like, the X and the Glimpse are in the same category of spells. Whereas the Disruptor is good in the early game because his Thunderstrike is like one of the best nukes at level 1. It does like 160 damage or whatever. So he's good in laning, and then he's good with Glimpse, and then his ult is also really good. So I think Disruptor is basically a Kunkka that's more generalized and less his weaknesses are less polarizing than the Kunkka.
Okay.
Like, if they pick a Naix right now, you guys aren't going to be able to do anything. Because Naix stops all of everything that both of you do, whereas if you have a Disruptor, you can ult him and then kinetic field him and kill him in your ult before you can rage. But Kunkka doesn't, you can't really torrent into boat that well.
Yeah.
So Disruptor is a maybe what your draft might be good if you have first pick Jakiro and then the enemy team second and third picks and then you pick the Kunkka. Like, that would be a little bit better, but it's still like if they just pick the right cores, like a Sven or something like that, where or a Juggernaut or a Naix, where they either have spell immunity built in or they go BKB 90% of the game anyways. And Kunkka Jakiro doesn't do anything to a Sven with the BKB.
Exactly.
So that's one of the big weaknesses of this. You have the weak, relatively weak early game because of this guy, and then you're completely countered by BKB. Whereas with BKB or spell immunity, whereas with Disruptor, he's still countered by BKB, but he's not countered by Spin or Lifesteal or whatever his rage thing. And then he can also get an Ags later that counters BKB. Whereas Kunkka, he's just kind of like always screwed by any spell immunity.
Yes.
So do you have any questions with that so far?
No, it's quite okay for me. I do like the Disruptor. It's actually no, it's for me legit.
Yeah, I really like another thing that my favorite opening draft right now is Disruptor and Clockwork.
Yeah, we do like the Clockwork, but it was banned. But yeah, we actually do like the Clockwork.
It's just, I think it's very strong because they have so much synergy between each other. Like
you can go Clockwork off lane or position 4.
Yeah, he's much better position 4, and I wouldn't put him off lane unless it's a very, very specific situation. But like here, let me go to Disruptor first. So this gives you vision to set up for hookshot. This allows you to basically, Glimpse is a better version of hookshot for Clockwork, because Clockwork, he wants to get on the enemy, and then he can do battery assault and his cogs. But the thing with his alt is it usually puts you into a position that you don't really want to be in, whereas Glimpse brings you back into a position you want to be, and you don't have to use your long ass alt.
Yes, exactly.
And then Kinetic Field with cogs and battery assault means you have a ton of lockdown, and then cogs can set up for static storm. So it's just a bunch of synergy there, and then with the clockwork, his flare can set up glimpses. It's just there's so much synergy between the two, and then also Disruptor has a really good nuke at level 1, but you don't skill it, so it falls off quick. So he doesn't power. His power spike is level 1, and then he just sets up with more kill potential from there on. Whereas Clockwork, his battery assault sucks at level 1, but it gets more than twice as good at level 3. So they kind of have that synergy where it's a quick handoff of the damage. And battery assault is basically enough to kill almost anyone in the early game alone. So you're not really worried about damage with these two. And then another thing that I like with this is you have a BKB piercing stun. You have a ton of mini stuns. So if they pick anything like a Pudge, a Witch Doctor, a Disruptor, or a Enigma, I mean, you can stop all of that. You can gain good vision control. When you get level 10, you can max this out, and you have good wave clear. At level 20, you get it even better. So they just kind of like complement each other a lot. And if you first and second pick this, it opens up for a really good Shadow Fiend pick, because you always have the ability to do the cog trick. And then Disruptor plus a average to strong safe lane carry is fine to deal with off lane for the first few levels, because of how much damage the Thunder Strike does. Like if you have a Juggernaut and a Disruptor, you have a pretty strong lane for the first few levels. So what you can do is you can win mid by giving him souls, and then you can win the off lane by double cogsing his creeps, and then you already have a safe lane that's pretty strong just by having an average carry and a strong level 1 support. So it covers a lot of bases, and I really like that. And then you have catch for everyone. You have lockdown for everyone. You have BKB piercing stuns. You have BKB piercing with the Disruptor's Ags. So it's a really strong combination that I like. So it's a little thing to look at. I don't really like the Kunkka too much. I think Kunkka is a really good support when you pick it later for very specific things. Like, it's really good at picking off a Quap AM, something along those lines. And it's a good amount of stuns. But there's heroes that just don't care about it at all. So you don't really want a polarizing hero as your first pick or your second pick.
Okay.
Because if they... Like, it's kind of in the same realm as first picking Meepo or Huskar. If they just pick correctly against it, you're playing with a hero that's at 50% of his max potential. Whereas, like, a Jakiro, no matter what they pick, you're going to be at, like, 90% of your potential.
Okay.
So that's another thing to watch out for. Like, Witch Doctor and Sand King, they're not very polarizing. They're just, like... The only thing that's very polarizing is if this guy can't get his Blink Dagger, but meh. There's just, like... You're not going to shut these guys down to 50%, but you can with Kunkka.
Okay.
And then the Dragonite ban.
I think we banned the Dragon Knight and Jag.
I'm gonna go to the 2 picks, and then we're gonna pause it and go over that section again. Omni Knight, Elder Titan. Luna. Alright, so... Okay, at this point, hmm. What was your thought process on the Omni Knight pick?
Actually, we have like it's been a short time we've been together and we try like to get good offlane, but the problem is that our offlane player have like a small hero pool for now. He play a lot of Nyx Assassin, a lot of he play Clockwork, but this is main Nyx and Clockwork, and we didn't want to pick Nyx on this game, and he play a bit of Omni, so we said like Omni is good versus Sun King because you have spell immunity, you can heal, and like we had a really good lineup to group up and just push towers actually. With Jack Hero Cop, we can fight early, we needed a little bit of sustain, so we picked Omni, but I think we lacked of engage and fight potential.
Yeah, I think
control.
I'm curious as why you wait, actually okay. That was the 5th pick. I was gonna say a Nyx would have been really good against their lineup here. And it would have been like decent against these two. Because if you look at it, they have a bunch of AoE uncontrollable spells, which is really good for Carapace. They have 3 very important channeling spells, and he has 2 ways to cancel all of them.
We have a big problem for me. Like, we know how to win our lane. We are like good players individually, but as a team, we do like bad decision, or we don't know how to enter a fight, to play a fight. We are like always lacking of engage or not really decision making, because we know what we are doing, but we are not doing it well or well enough actually, because we lacked a lot of engage, lacked of some, like we have something, we are good, this is okay, we are good, but we lacked of something and we are trying to figure out what it is.
So the one thing that I want to point out here is who on your team really wants to be in front of everyone? Yeah. So you have,
this is a problem.
I see these 3 heroes as heroes that enable somebody else to do something.
Yeah,
and then
I do agree.
This is a hero that skirts around the fights and picks people off and throws out good harass. And then you end up with a PL that does the exact same thing until 50 minutes in the game. So your strategy, if you want to do this, is just stall out the game for 50 minutes so we can have somebody run in with a repel. You don't have, like, the Omni Knight doesn't want to be repelling himself because that's as good as having like a Nyx or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you don't. Yeah, I just see these 3 heroes as enablers, and even with these 3, the co-op still doesn't want to.
Do you think something like Tide or lack like a lot of control? So what do you? I will pick Tide. What do you will pick if you?
I think the Nyx is good even.
The Nyx is good?
Yeah, because the Nyx can go in and he can tank up a lot of spells. People like try and react to him. He just carapaces, and then everyone, like, he has 5 seconds of lockdown between his stun and his thing, and then he has scouting potential to pick off with X and Quap, and he has a bunch of damage. Like, there's nobody really for you to mana burn except for like the Witch Doctor, but it's still you not having a mana burn target is not nearly as big of a deal as this guy not having a repel / heal target. So I think that's a big part of your problems in the later game, or the mid to late game, I'm going to guess, are that you didn't have anyone that could go in and do stuff. And you had 3 heroes that help somebody do that, and then you have another hero that wants somebody to do that for them. And then you last pick somebody else that also doesn't really want to do that until the end of the game. And then you pick PL into a bunch of heroes that are good against PL. Sand King's ult is really good against PL. This guy,
Titan is good.
Yeah, he's decent against it. And then Luna has like a built-in cleave.
PL is decent against Luna in late game, so we try to pick him for that, but we didn't went into late game actually.
I don't. One sec. PL's not that good against Luna.
One of her hard counters, actually. Like.
Here, I'll send you the link. It's about, like, the 30th best matchup for PL, so it's not that great. Because she has a cleave. She's basically a Sven that's ranged of sorts. You do deal with her ult really well, but she has a way to deal with your illusions built in.
I'll send you this one because I dropped on more on this one.
I wouldn't follow this at all.
Okay.
Because this is a theory somebody made up that's probably 4K, that's more of a web designer and a text write-up. Whereas what I sent you is like actual statistics based off of
Okay.
and that's
matchups, okay.
yeah, that's what I always go to whenever I have any matchups can go a lot of different ways. Like Luna has the glaives that are really good against PL, and then her ult is really bad against PL. So it's hard to and then there's a lot of different item timings and all that, so it's like she could be either really good against PL or really bad against PL, and it's hard for me to like just guess. So whenever I have something like that, I just go into this, and like PL is more than 3 times better against Wraith King than he is Luna, which is like an actual counter. Whereas this is just kind of like, alright, it's decent, but you don't want to compromise your entire draft to have a decent pick against the Luna. And then you last pick the PL. Yeah, my thing with this is PL just doesn't come online soon enough to deal with what they want to do. Like, you don't have any way of stopping them from just running you down at 15-20 minutes with Eclipse and DP ult.
Yeah, I do agree.
And PL, he kind of wants like 3 items before the fights really start happening. He wants his Diffusal so his illusions do damage. He wants his Manta so he has like more damage, and then he wants like an item because if he doesn't have anything else, he doesn't really have enough health. So like you want this probably isn't the build, but you Diffusal Manta Heart or something would put you in the spot that you can actually start to fight decently. Whereas if you just have a Diffusal, you're gonna take like 1 nuke from any of these guys and your illusions are dead. So PL just kind of like comes online too late, I think. So do you have any questions on the draft or anything else you want me to?
I do agree on what you said.
Okay.
I think we all agree on what you said.
Alright.
The caster was agreed with you on this too. After the game, I agree on this.
Okay. So
I think the Omni pick was the pick that like make us lose our real strategy and our real timing.
Yeah, the Omni pick is just kind of like it started it all. But I do think I'm wondering what so this is kind of like with my coaching, I'm usually like I want to focus on the early game first. And like my first lessons are I usually fix the early game and then go from there, because the best example is if a student comes to me and he's like, how do I come back from a 15-0 Huskar game on the enemy team, I go into the game and I figure out why you fed him 15 fucking kills in the first place, and then we fix that instead of trying to fix something that is a reaction of
Okay.
you messing up first. So I think the Omni Knight pick was the Huskar going 15-0, and then the PL pick is like, I'm trying to think of what would be better, but I could just have you not let the Huskar get 15-0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do agree a lot with this.
Okay. Your supports are definitely not where they should be. Like, yeah, they blocked mid, which was good. The Kunkka was kind of, like, the Kunkka didn't need to be bottom here. Like, this PL is going to get, like, he's going to be missing the first few waves, and that's going to make the offlane a lot harder, because these guys are a lot harder to deal with at level 2, and most offlaners are. So you guys are compromising your early game just to get you an extra 100 gold from this bounty rune. And you guys gave up another bounty rune up here anyways, so you didn't generate any gold, but you gave up a lot by doing this. Small thing here, you don't really want your TP in your inventory, because this will be on twice cooldown if you eat a tango here.
Actually, I think I'll swap when I eat it.
Okay. And you have you?
Yeah, I did. Swap.
I mean, you haven't cast your Shadow Strike once yet.
Yeah.
And you've been in lane for about a minute here, so you've like that's how Quap wins lanes. You just Shadow Strike people and they don't have the regen to deal with it. So you're not taking full advantage of that when you should be. Yeah, it's 2 minutes in the game before you cast your first Shadow Strike.
Yeah.
And you have 2 points in it, so it's kind of like you're missing a lot of value of it. And here, I would be running at her and dropping these creeps off here. Because she's low enough that, and she has your level 2 Shadow Strike on her, that if you pull this over here, she can't come up to the lane.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I was actually scared of her first phase, the Siphon.
Well, if you, like, you could be salving, like, right here and then doing it, or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you...
Actually, I think I should salve here, right now. I waited too much on my salve.
Yeah, like...
I waited to go back a little bit to salve, and I should play aggressively here. I
Yeah,
agree on this.
like, if you attack her twice and get a Shadow Strike on her,
Yeah.
she's either gonna have to back, or she's gonna be using all of this, or she's gonna die. And you're not really gonna lose anything from that. And instead, she's allowed to regen up, have time to fly out regen, get last hits and all of that, when you could be stopping her from doing everything at no extra cost to you. Let me see if there's anything you could have done differently here. I think the main thing is you could just be standing here instead of blinking in.
Okay.
And then she can't come up and do anything, and you can still get your last hits. And if she wants to run up, you can Shadow Strike her. If she siphons you there, then you can blink on her hill, break the siphon, and she dies.
Okay.
And I don't know how to, like, teach that. It's just kind of like...
No, I do agree with you.
Okay.
Like, I just could zone her, but not taking the risk to die.
Yeah.
Just zone her and take the last hit to take the advantage in the early game.
Yeah, it puts her in a situation that's just either
come with new regen and can't last it and just wait, or try to get the last hit, but she could die.
Yeah, it's basically minimizing your risks while
Yeah.
maximizing your rewards.
Input, okay.
I kind of don't like that you have two nulls so much.
Okay.
I think if you positioned better and did those little things, you wouldn't have to have the nulls to keep up with her damage.
Okay.
And then you could have had like key items a minute or two quicker throughout the entire game. And do you not have? Are these? Oh, feels bad.
Yeah. Why I just backed to base.
Yeah.
I always go to shrine if I had the shrine, but I didn't have them.
So I kind of don't like this.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm looking at that you might not be looking at is this guy's level 7 with her ult. And
Yeah.
when you leave the lane, that gives her free reign.
To take the tower.
Yeah. So, it might be something that you're communicating it and your team thinks it's like a great idea to do it, but you need, I don't know if you're factoring this in or not, which is very important. Because, like, yeah, your PL might die if you don't go, but it's fine if your PL dies at level 5 if it means you keep your tier 1 mid.
Okay. Actually, I knew she could take the tower.
Okay.
For me, I should have helped the PL. He was too like late in the game to die another time.
It ended up being fine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't end up costing you anything. I would be looking to, with this, I would be looking to go bottom and have your Kunkka sit mid, because he's like right here anyways, and you have a very good opportunity to, like, if the Omni heal bombs you on her, and then you scream her, and then you Shadow Strike her, or
I think okay, the scream. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have at the very least done like a bunch of damage and given this guy an opportunity to get some more levels, which is very important on him.
Yeah.
But instead, they're just kind of like, because you went mid, these guys are just kind of sitting here.
Yeah.
Like, if you went bottom, the Kunkka could have been here, and then the Chikiro would have realized that there's no kill potential, and then went top and helped the Kunkka, or the PL.
The PL.
And part of that is just recognizing that one of the best ways to win games is being the same, like having your position 1 through 3s the same as the enemy position 1 through 3s, but your supports have like a force staff when theirs don't, or a glimmer cape, or 2 or 3 more levels, because that does a fuck ton. If you can get pushed from like here to here in a fight, that can change the game. Like that alone can win you the game. For your supports just having like 1,000 more gold, so they finish their item sooner. Whereas if you have 1,000 more gold, whoop-de-fucking-do, you have an Oblivion staff instead of a quarter staff.
Yes.
This is good. I would definitely have the quarterstaff instead of the Sage's Mask.
I do agree. I do agree on this one.
That's not too big of a deal. If you don't feel like you're gonna be fighting at all, the Sage's Mask is better. And it's only like for 30 seconds, so
Yeah.
it's not too big of a deal. But like if you held on to it like that for like 3 minutes, I would have like found where you live and slapped you in the face. This is recognizing that she probably saw you, because she has the bonus night vision. Yeah, so they have a ward also, so
Yeah, they have a ward.
kind of like screws everything. Witch Doctor's invis, I think. Yeah. And at this point, like, you drafted like wanting to push, but like, this is when you're starting to feel like you can't because you don't have a frontliner.
Exactly.
So this is like, this is when we're gonna start feeling the mistakes of the draft. Also, I wouldn't have mind, because you guys kind of like lost the safe lane. What would have been good for you guys to do is to have rotated the PL bottom with the, and then try to push that tower.
We actually talked about it, I think, yesterday. We say that actually for me, like our carry, Mazap, like when he play like on the safe lane, he always go back to the safe lane for like 12 minutes, not 20 but like 12.
Yeah.
And for me, as a carry, you can swap the lane if you're not okay, or just go in the jungle, or just go jungle lane, try to come the mid lane, try to go north lane, just try to set up the base lane as possible. And I think we are not flexible on this, and we need to be flexible.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, yeah, they might follow you, but at the very, like, you're not gonna have a worse situation than you are top.
Yeah.
So at the very least, if you go bottom, you're gonna make them do something that they don't want to do.
Exactly.
So you're forcing that the reactions of the enemy team, and if they don't follow you, then you guys can fucking, no matter how far behind, you guys can 3v1 the Luna, and if they all just like stay top or they slowly run bottom, then you have enough time to get a lot done, and then when they walk bottom, then you can TP back top, and it's just kind of like they're running around like fucking monkeys, and you're getting good farm and shutting down their carry some and all that. And if you can make them, you're putting your most important hero with your most important tower in a losing position. So if they go top, not only are they gonna keep down the most important hero, they're also gonna accomplish the most important thing. Whereas if you go bottom, yeah, they can shut you down, but they're not really going to be pushing your strongest tower. They're not going to have 3 people up here.
Okay.
And then also quarterstaff's better than null.
No talisman. Yeah, I know.
It's fine if you get the orchid, because then you don't have to worry about putting the null back in your backpack.
I think I was just waiting for the orchid like a retard. I knew I would get it like just soon after that.
So this is, there's nothing for you to do here.
Yeah.
At this point, so what I would be looking to do is,
I think I should be T2, pushing the T2.
Well, it's at this moment you realize that there's nothing to do. So it's fine that you came over here. It's just like at this very second, my thought would be, okay, I'm gonna come over here, or I'm gonna go cut the wave. Um,
Okay.
because they can't. Like if you go there, you cut the wave. You can do it in like 3 or 4 seconds and then be gone, and that'll make them like, ooh, piece of candy. Let's go kill the quap, and you're gone by the time they get there. And then
Okay.
this is instead of if you kill this, then the creeps are gonna meet like here next time,
Yeah.
or something like that. Instead of if you don't kill it, it's gonna meet like here, which is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that means that they can't push this with exorcism. It's gonna be down soon, anyways. But it would have been a good little move for you to do. And you see 2 of them here. You see 3 of them here. They can't stop you from doing it. And they would have rotated again, or you could have went here and then forced them to either give you 300-400 tower damage, or maybe not go for the Conka or whatever.
Okay.
And the PL's doing the good thing. He should be pushing this because he can't do jack shit if he shows up.
And what did you think of drums on the PL?
Drums?
Yeah.
Um,
Don't like it.
Not really.
Okay.
I just don't. Drums isn't that good right now. Like, a lot of the appeal of drums is that it gives you the strength.
Yeah.
But you're paying an extra 1,200 gold and you're not getting any more health. It gives you a little bit of mana regen, but like, if you just tread switch and use, like, he already has the,
Okay.
he already has his mana problem solved, so the mana regen's wasted.
I was looking at for the drums at for the soul ring. You take out the soul ring, you put drums.
Well, the thing with Soul Ring is it gives you health regen, which is really good on this guy because he only needs a little bit of health regen to be able to jungle because he has naturally high regen. So like a wand or a Soul Ring are like very close to being able to make you jungle when you can't without them. Especially if you use Doppelganger to tank for you and small tricks like that. Whereas drums doesn't help you with that. And the Soul Ring gives you for, how much is it difference? It's less than half the gold. You get most of the strength. You get 6 strength instead of 7. So you're missing 20 health from it.
Because I'm asking this because we were questioning ourselves, like, if he did drums, could we fight sooner or not? It was just like this type of question that we had, like, do our like item build was good or...
The thing is, the movement speed, do you think the movement speed and attack speed would have made you able to fight whatever the fuck, that thing, and Eclipse?
Eclipse? No, I don't think so, actually.
And then also Blink Dagger, Burrow Strike, Epicenter.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how fast you attack or run, like maybe if your max movement speed it'll make a few difference, but drums isn't going to change this. And PL just kind of like wants to farm to get items before he can do anything. And drums would be a big sidetrack that would encourage him to keep sidetracking himself by going to fights while he's still weak, even with drums, instead of farming to get items that will make him strong.
Okay. I think we lost the game on this smoke. Well, actually on the fight after.
Yeah, they're just so much richer than you right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the only way that you win a fight is if you get a pick off
The pickup.
on a solo.
But here the Luna sources because of her night vision.
Yeah, here I would just back. I'd be like, alright, gig's
Yeah,
over.
Actually on this fight we have like a huge mistake on the calls because I went. If you just go here and pause like for 2 seconds, we went like downhill. We saw the Luna, I said back. We didn't saw the Luna, I said back. Someone told us we can't fight here. We go back again in a bit, and I said, guys, if you have a ward there, we are just fucked up. We don't have vision. We don't know where they are. We should back. And like we rushed too much, and people said, okay, let's just fight them by going here or here. And actually, it was really bad decision. I think we should have trade the T2 for the T1 here. The creep were in position. We had a good ward on the high ground on the T2 mid. We should have pushed and not fight here.
Yeah, so my thing would be like, alright, smoke broke, we didn't find anybody, they probably see us, we're very deep, we're behind, we're pushing and there's a catapult. Going here is very good, because like, yeah, they might get this tower, but they have to back after.
Exactly.
And they're ahead, so situations where you can trade evenly is better for you guys. Because you're behind and you shouldn't be getting even trades. And a tier 2 is a lot more important than a tier 1. Or at least that one's actually really important, but like you can't stop it, so...
Yeah, we can't do anything. We don't have any vision, we don't have a way to go here, like... For me, this fight was really shit.
Yeah, this, I don't even have to see this fight to know that it's kind of like bad. And like this is also you want to be on strength treads. Like you would have got. No, he didn't have any spells. You were fucked no matter what. But strength treads are very important for low health heroes because like your int treads are gonna make you do like 2 or 3% more damage. Because you right click harder.
One thing that I'm actually working on my PT swap. I didn't get the mechanic for like I started Dota 3 years ago and then I never focused on this. And now that I'm a divine player, I'm trying like to get a step up a bit more. So I'm trying to correct the things I don't do, like the PT swap.
Yeah. It's kind of like whenever I go into a fight, unless I can like foresee how the fight's gonna go, and it's like a simple little thing, or I'm playing a hero that's very basic or some shit. Basically, when I don't think that tread swapping is gonna be worth my attention in the fight, I just leave it on strength treads. Cause like right now it would have given you around, like probably 16% more health, overall. Whereas the int treads are gonna do like 2 or 3% more damage. So it's just kind of like there's no hero that it's like worth being on anything other than strength treads unless you're not getting traded with back. Or if you like need the mana or something, or yeah, like basically if you're 1v1ing somebody, like right click to death, you always want to be on strength treads. Or at least like very close to always. And then this is just kind of like, yeah, the PL doesn't want to go in. He has about the same health as you when he's on strength treads, because PL just doesn't have, he doesn't have the health early game. He has 2 strength gain. And that's kind of just the problem when you try and fight early with PL. But yeah.
We actually do lose the game on this, I think.
Yeah, I think that's most of it from your perspective. I don't know if you want me to go through.
It's okay. No.
Okay. So were there any other questions you had or anything?
Can you watch on this game the 2 support play in the early game? I think they did pretty okay, but all the little mistakes is good to know.
Sure. Um,
Like we were in 6-0, I think, at the moment, and we didn't know how to unlock. So I think we have a problem on this. We maybe should have grouped sooner, like me and the two support to try unlock a tower, or I don't know.
I'm gonna watch it from the Kunka's perspective. I'd rather see him have boots. I don't think the sentry ward is very important. It's like good to have one, but it's better to have your Kunkka have a pair of boots instead of a windlace.
Okay.
The value is just so much better. Like this is 10 gold for every movement speed, whereas this is like 12 and a half gold or something.
Okay.
So it's better to have that, and if your Kunkka can catch somebody, then everyone else can catch them. I don't like that he started with Torrent, because sometimes it's better to just have X. Like, what's he... If a fight breaks out, is he gonna fucking try and throw a random Torrent on somebody that... Unless it's on the rune spot, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. I think he wanted to steal the rune by... and took the rune after.
Well, why not just wait until 3 seconds before the rune spawns and...
Yeah.
Figure out there, because like now, if he also I don't like that he's down here in the first place. I don't like the Chikiro is fine, blocking mid and then immediately running top is like that's what the Kunkka should be doing, and the Chikiro should be top, and then yeah, because like you guys can fight these two if you have like if a Chikiro's up there and you 2v2, I think you guys win this if you just space correctly. Like if you don't let this guy get a double stun or whatever, and then you fire breath both of them and then just kind of like kite them out. So the Kunkka, and he should have had boots, so he can block this and then quickly get back to top before anything too important happens. And if you did that here, and the main thing with that is not showing until you have to with your supports. Because if this Kunkka, like this Kunkka right now is showing to the Luna, which makes these guys feel safe.
Yeah, okay.
And then the same is true if he goes top. He doesn't want to show until, like if both of your supports are like right here, they're kind of scared here and here because they don't know where your supports are. So the same is true of the Jakiro's like hiding right here, and then the Kunkka's blocking here. They don't know if the PL has two supports or not. And then they don't know if you have two supports or not. So it's good to... Like, it's kind of obvious that the PL is going to be here. And then it's kind of obvious that you're going to be over here. So yeah, that's a little thing. And the X... Like, X is a lot of times more important than Torrent in the early game. Because, like, if he's dual laning, or tri-laning here against the dual lane, and he catches somebody here, and then they get, like... lanced and slowed, and then they run here, and then they're pulled all the way back here, that's much more important than the chance of getting a 2 seconds stun and a 2 second slow, or a second and a half stun and slow. And then this is as a position 4, when I see this, I don't want to be here. The only time that I want to start mid, really, is if the creep wave's, like, up here. Because here, the DP can sit, like, 2 inches from her tower and get last hits. Whereas up here, you actually have room to kill her and shit. So the second I see this, I'm like, alright, gigs up, let's go top. And it's kind of what you guys do. But yeah, now they come to a lane like 25 seconds late, and do the stupid trade. Also, I don't like the branch. It's just what's it do for a Kunkka? I'd rather see him get another clarity, or just skip it altogether. And like he could have saved that 50 gold, and then
have his boots now, right now.
Something like, or yeah. Or he could have picked up something for the Jakiro or something. It's just branch doesn't do anything. Like when you get a wand as a support, it's not for the 2 all stats, it's for the health regen and the heal and stuff, so the same holds true with the branches. And then here, he should be recognizing that he's not going to be doing anything anytime soon. So the best thing that he can do is set up for the bounty runes. It doesn't matter how much stronger or weaker you are when it comes to bounty runes. All that matters is you're there when it spawns. Like you could be a level 1 Crystal Maiden, there could be a 25 level like Spectre or Juggernaut that's right here. If the Crystal Maiden's here, she's going to get the rune. And then if the Juggernaut's running this way, she's also going to get this rune. Outside of like movement speed and shit, of course. And then that's this guy gets it instead, and he's at 146. Actually, one sec. 46. So he gets about 70 experience and 110 gold, and that's 140 experience swing and 220 gold swing, because that's all stuff that the Kunkka didn't get. So that's a big deal, and that's enough to change how the lane's probably going to go, because this guy's going to get his boots. Like, these two would have switched spots. The Kunkka would have been 100 gold away from his boots. Or the Kunkka would have been like 50 gold away from his boots, and this guy would have been like 150 away from his boots. And that makes a big difference in the lane, because now Kunkka can never catch the Elder Titan, whereas before, Kunkka can always catch the Elder Titan for that little window. So that's not to be underestimated. I don't like this poll. With the lane being so contested right now, I would have much rather seen, there's a little trick that you can do, where, let's see if we can catch it. I don't know if it'll do it or not. It's basically, when this projectile hits, it aggroes the creeps that are, each of the creeps have their own circle. So like, this guy will aggro here, but he won't aggro here, but this guy will. So if this Kunkka like stood right there when he got hit, he might only pull these two creeps. And then these two right here will go up, and then that splits up. Like, these two will die, and he'll be able to kill these, and then these two will be up here tanking the creep wave, so the PL doesn't have to tank under the tower. And then it's kind of like, do both of these two guys really want to commit to go to 2 creeps over here, or do they want to commit to the 2 creeps that are here? And it splits up like a lot of their it basically puts them in a lose-lose situation. If they try and contest this, one of them's already dead, one of these guys is already dead, so they're contesting like 1 melee creep and like 2 small creeps. And then if they stay here, they're missing 2 creeps, and then it's going to pull back into the tower. So it's just kind of like, there's nothing that they can really do that's good against that. Whereas with this, you kind of just fuck the lane up, because it's going to push into the enemy tower more. Because the creep wave's going to pull under the tower here, and then these are going to die, and then you're going to have all these extra creeps. Or, where the fuck did they go? I guess this guy pulled them? Yeah. So it's just, like, imagine how different this lane would have been if he did that small little trick. And it's just kind of like, also, you guys aren't doing anything here. Like, the Kunkka and the Jakiro, part of that is just that these guys got the early levels, and the space, and the bounty runes. And then part of it is the creep wave is up. But then it's kind of like, alright, well, we recognize that we're not really doing anything here. Let's go bottom. Because you can do stuff. You can, like, kill either of these heroes if you catch them. And what that'll do is make either Elder Titan or the Sand King to rotate bottom. And it might be too late. You might get a kill. maybe he doesn't do it. Your PL is basically in the same spot if you guys are here or not. He might get like half the last hits, but like 3 times the experience. But it's kind of like these guys aren't doing anything, and they could be doing a lot bottom here. So I'd probably be moving bottom if I were these two.
Okay.
One second. Well, I don't know where my fucking phone went, and, whatever. I'll look for it later. And it's just like, yeah, they're not really doing anything. And here it's gonna happen again, where you're just kind of like fucking the lane up. I guess he pulls it. But like here, it's like, you're not, because you pulled 3, it's gonna give them access to all 3 of these creeps of experience. If you pulled 2, it would have denied 2 of them. And then your PL also wouldn't be tanking creeps under the tower. And then
Okay, you fool a creep wave when like the offlaner can't really contest, where it's a solo offlaner and you can like cover your creep and you pull 2 of them when the lane is quite hard. You want the offlaner to commit for 2 creeps and not the 2 others, and that like this the PL can like farm but without tanking the creeps.
It's kind of, there's a lot of moving parts when you talk about when to pull and how to pull. So
Okay.
it's kind of complicated, but that's kind of the gist of it. When you're in this position, like if you guys are very far ahead, and you can't zone him out when he's in the lane, whatever the hero is, but if he comes over here, you can kill him. Then it's really good to do this pull, because then, like, let's say they have a Pangolier here, or some shit. And it's a solo offlaner. You have your Jakiro here, and you have your Kunkka here. The Pangolier goes over to try and contest this. The Jakiro breathes on him or whatever, and then the Kunkka X's him from the high ground, and you can kill him.
Okay.
So that's a good time to do the combined pull. That baits them into just dying, and then this also gives you more farm on your supports. So it's kind of like, one's not better than the other, they're just different tools. And it's kind of like, I'm not going to be able to say in a few sentences, or, like, it's very hard to explain it, because there's a lot of moving parts. And it's just, your supports have to, like, start thinking about it on their own and experiencing when one works, when one doesn't, why it does, why it doesn't. It's like, I see it almost as complicated as like harassing in general. Like, it's very hard to explain harassing, like how to, if somebody asks you how to productively harass, it's just like there's so many different, so it's hard to,
way and play style and
yeah,
and you understand.
the hero, the items, the team composition, what your objective is, all that, so it's hard to, but yeah, I think basically they're not doing anything. Very important. I actually have 2 really good videos that are on the mentality of knowing what to do as a position 4, and I think that would be good for both of your supports to watch.
Okay. If you can send me the link,
Yeah.
give them too.
And it'll be in this order too, because one of them builds off the other one. So you.
Check this.
And it's more of the same. They're just like not doing anything productive. So it's like there's not really much to talk about, and they should kind of just watch the videos, and then like when they have a better understanding of how to rotate and all of that, then I can more talk about it, because there's just kind of like a theoretical or a fundamental flaw that's like I can't. You need to be looking at it differently instead of like completely differently instead of me small tweaking it to help. So yeah, I think. Is there anything else you wanted me to talk about? Because I can't really talk about too much more of this.
No, I think it's okay.
Alright. So yeah, no final questions or anything?
No.
Alright. So I'll get this uploaded. I'm gonna stop recording here.